Why is it I'm talking and it's picking up?
It's because it's those mics. We're hearing it on there.
It's that sensitive?
And they're pretty sensitive. When they're talking, it'll
blur out everything else, but
sensitive. I might try and put a gate on it. I think you can put gates on it here. Let's see if we can close it off when it's not being picked up. But yeah, we will be heard on there, guys. So we'll have to be pretty.
I'll be heard right now.
Sorry?
I've turned the stream on.
Okay.
oh, great. So you want us to talk? This is the Royal Canadian Henley.
Okay, let's try on one. All right.
All right. Welcome to the Canadian Henley Royal Regatta, everybody. This is our first final of the regatta, the Lady Henley Trophy for the senior women's single. Welcome to the Canadian Henley.
My name is Yana Paquin, and I'm here with...
My name is Ellington Peacock. I'm a rower at UBC, and we will be your commentators for this afternoon.
So it looks like they just passed the 500-meter mark, and they're heading up to the 1,000.
Yeah, so today we've got a pretty stacked cast here for our A final. A lot of international talent. We've got athletes that have competed in the U23 quad in 2023. That would be Kathleen Castle from Craftsbury in lane 1. In lane 2, we've got Gabriella Urema from UBC. She got bronze in the FISU 8 last year. In lane 4, we've got Morgan Ross, who's a University of Virginia grad who has spent a lot of time with the senior national team, winning the Town Challenge Cup at British Henley. In lane 5, Paige Wheeler from Craftsbury. In lane 6, we've got Kara Greshkowiak from Canberra, who's represented Australia in the senior women's quad in 2019. And then in lane 7, we've got Charlotte Wiley from Craftsbury. All right, looks like we've got our athletes approaching the 1,000 meters now. Hopefully we'll be able to get a better angle to sense what kind of order in the field we've got here.
It's hard to tell, but it does look like lane 7 and lane 6 are out ahead by quite a little bit.
Yeah, so from what I can tell, looking at the wind, it looks like we have got a bit of a headwind. So I have a feeling that those far lanes might have a bit of protection on the island there, just from a little bit of a starboard side headwind here. So they should be approaching us fairly soon. We should be able to give you a good idea of where the race stands. So it's looking like lane 6, Canberra, is out ahead. Looks like she's managing the rougher conditions quite well, really keeping her blades clean on the water there.
Lane 2 looks like they're making a push for it. It's hard to tell with the angles and who's out in front, but now it looks like 2 and 6 are kind of around the same.
Yeah, so it looks like we have lane 2 making a big charge with lane 4 trying to keep the blades clean, but it does look like we have lane 6 holding that lead there. Lane 2 just taking a look across, but it looks like we're going to have a pretty fierce competition here for the medals. As it stands right now, looks like we've got lane 3 and lane 5 just a bit behind the pace. Yeah, you can see that flag there waving. They're probably battling a pretty stiff headwind right now. Front runners all keeping their blades quite clean. We're looking like lane 4, Morgan Rost there, is fighting to keep her blades nice and clean, looking like she's doing a really good job there. It takes a look across. These athletes are probably going to be thinking about winding up now, attacking for the final sprint.
Once they pass that 1,500 meter mark, it opens up a lot. As you can see on the right side, there's not much shelter or protection, so the water gets a little bit more choppy nearing the finish.
Definitely makes a complicating factor there in that last 750. Although I believe in the last 250, you get a little bit more protection and can really lay down a fat sprint. Okay, so I think we'll be switching the camera angle at some point here, and we might be able to get a better sense of where we're standing coming into the finish. So it looks like they're in the final 500 now. Yeah, okay. So it looks like the Canberra athlete is holding on to her lead. We've got, let me check the rate for us here, see what we're working with.
maybe slow down the not so it's a little smoother.
So the athlete from Canberra, Kara Greshkoviak, is rating pretty low, so definitely laying down a lot of watts at that lower rate. She's looking quite comfortable with a big bunch of water behind her to the field.
You can pull out of it.
That is looking like a pretty decisive win from the Australian. And then in second place, wow, okay, we got, a battle between lane 2 and lane 4. Yeah, so that would be in second place, Kathleen Castle from Craftsbury, and then in third place, Morgan Ross, racing for Ridley Grad.
31.
And Gabby comes across the line now. So that is your finish there in the senior women's single. Impressive race from the Australian.
We'll have to fix that tomorrow, unfortunately.
And just so our viewers know, if you see an entry that says Ridley Grad, that will be the Canadian senior national team racing under Ridley College. Oh, we got a little spider on the lens there.
So our second final of the day is off, the men's senior lightweight double. We have Western in lane 2, UBC lane 3, Fetimex lane 4, Osprey lane 5, Marietta lane 6, and Leander in lane 7.
All right, so I know in the UBC double, they're competing in quite a few lightweight events there. You've got the E23 light double, senior light double, and light pair for those two. Henry Soul racing in bow seat has just made the transition from heavyweight after competing in the UBC first 8 at Brown Cup this spring. So he's hoping to transition that experience into a lightweight victory at CUs this year. So it looks like all crews are kind of battling those conditions there, thrown up by the wind. Really just trying to stay clean over the water. Definitely seeing some blades catching there.
Mm-hmm.
So you may notice that we have some friends from Mexico that have come to race us. This is the Mexican national team. In this double, we have athletes that have won the lightweight men's quad at the 2024 World Championships just in St. Catharines last year. And his double partner had competed in the lightweight men's single at World Cup 3 last year. So definitely got some pedigree here in the lightweight men's double for these other athletes to measure themselves against.
Looks like they're just passing the first 500-meter marker. You can see all the blades high off the water to try and stay above those waves. You can see some catching. It's definitely hard, and I think at the 500 to 1,000 meter mark, it's a little bit more open again. The shore goes out pretty far, so the weather would be a little bit worse there.
So it's looking like the Mexican double is gaining quite a significant lead on the field at a very high stroke rate. I'm counting around a 37 on the stroke rate, which is impressive to stay at such a high rate in relatively choppy conditions. Coming past the 1,000 here, it looks like we have lane 5 Osprey in second place. with, it looks like a fairly tight competition here for third between UBC and Marietta by my eye. But the Mexican double is really stepping away from the field here, staying really clean. You can see the power through their body swing there. They're absolutely taking the most out of every stroke. So now that the race has some protection behind the island here, we can see Mexico going by, staying quite clean with a significant gap to the field, maybe 5 or almost 6 boat lengths to the field. And then in second place, we've got Western, just 1 length or so, a little bit more ahead of UBC, who has just a deck over Marietta. So it looks like it's going to be quite the race here for second and third place. I think we can say that Mexico has, it would take a lot for them to lose their position here.
It's crazy how fast they've stayed the whole race. Like their stroke rate seems very high.
Very, very representative of elite lightweights, really taking it up high with the stroke rate. So they're going to be battling some more gusts here. You can see that flag flapping pretty aggressively there. We're going to be wanting to get the protection of the final 250. So it seems like we're going to be having a bit of a race here for second or third place, although from this angle it seems like Marietta might have a slight advantage over UBC and Western.
You can see the buoys turn from yellow to red, and that indicates the last 250. So Fenimex is in their last 250, and it looks like Lane 5, Osprey, is also entering their last 250 of the race.
So it looks like Mexico is really just powering it home to the finish. Now it looks like they've just lifting the stroke rate. Let's get a count on it. Back up to around a 38, looks like, and they're just taking it home. Yeah, really impressive race from Mexico today. And over the line we go, and let's see what results from the minor medals. Looks like we've got a fairly tight field here. And Western brings the second place, followed by Marietta by about a length, and then after about half a length of water comes UBC for fourth. And then next, I believe that was Leander. Oh, okay. We may have had a scratch in that race. I don't think I saw 6 boats there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think all the unofficial times would be posted on Regatta Master.
Yes.
It's hard to tell from this live stream sometimes on who finishes first. So we are off on our third final of the day, the men's under 19 single. In lane 2, we have Ottawa. In lane 3, we have Great Bay. Lane 4, Niagara Falls. Lane 5, Cambridge. Lane 6, CRI. And lane 7 is Calgary. And the lanes go from left to right. So 2 would be on the far left, and 7 will be on the far right.
Okay, so the official order of that senior light double race was Mexico, Western, Osprey, UBC, Marietta, Leander. So we had that order mixed up there. It was actually Osprey that came in third place. Okay, in the under 19 single, Jack Colson in lane 2 recently represented Canada in the International Challenge. So he's could be an athlete to look out for in this competition. I also have to know that Remo Kramer is racing here from Calgary. And Remo is actually one of our new recruits at UBC, so he'll be joining us in the fall, which is very exciting. So I'm sure he's looking to put down his absolute best competition to begin his university rowing career.
Looks like they have just passed the 500 meter mark, heading to the 1,000.
So from this angle, it looks like CRI has a very promising start here. Obviously, we'll see once we get closer, but it looks like they're approaching the 1,000 meter mark now.
Looks like Cambridge is in behind CRI, trying to make a move here. Closing that gap.
Yeah, I will say the Cambridge athlete has certainly a good look of control about his stroke there. I think he's clearing his blades quite well, and his connection at the front end is quite good, but the CRI athlete is pushing very hard to keep him behind him. And it looks like he's certainly succeeding in stalling the Cambridge athlete's advances here. So we're seeing the race go by. Our station here looks like just under a length of water between our first two places here, maybe about half a length. So certainly not out of the question for Cambridge to launch an attack here towards CRI. Almost within contact, but CRI is certainly working hard to make that gap widen. And then it looks like in third right now is Niagara Falls, followed by Calgary on the far side, with Great Bay followed up by Ottawa there. So it looks like we could have a fight for third place coming up on our hands here. The Niagara Falls athlete is certainly working hard here. You can see just how much body swing he's putting into his stroke, really working for the speed that he's getting there. looks like from Cambridge we're having a bit of an attack there. Looks like his stroke rate might have just increased, trying to make a move against CRI when they've hit that rougher water. If an athlete can manage some wind and some waves better than others, then they can really do a lot of damage to a field. Yeah, so the Cambridge Oscar Spencer has just looked over his shoulder there to see where his rival is, and looks like we might have a bit of a battle here coming into the last 250. Cambridge up at a 35 right now. With CRI around a 36, so fairly evenly matched here on the stroke rate. And looks like we're in the final 250 now.
It's definitely going to be a close finish between Cambridge and CRI. They're battling it out right now.
Looks like CRI has just lifted his rate there, going for the final sprint. He's seen those red buoys come into his field of view. And it looks like he is stepping away from Cambridge here, really putting down a lot of power. And now here's Cambridge's attack, a little bit late. He would be hoping for a little bit more runway to hopefully overtake CRI, but he is moving quickly. Although, let's see if he runs out of track, and he just does, with CRI taking the win by just under a length. That is a huge victory for CRI. If only that Cambridge had a little bit more runway, he may have gotten there. So
Yeah,
now
he started it a little bit earlier.
Yep, just a bit earlier. It wouldn't have taken much, but now let's see what's happening for third place. Looks like Remo Kramer from Calgary has secured his third position, followed by Niagara Falls, and then Great Bay. With Ottawa rounding out the field.
So our fourth final is underway. In lane 2, we have Undine. Lane 3, Peterborough. Lane 4, Conshohocken. Lane 5, Argonaut. Lane 6, Ottawa. And lane 7, St. Catharines Rowing Club.
In lane 3 here, we've got another UBC athlete, Morgan Harris Starts. She is just finished her first year on our women's team, and so she will be hoping to take home the prize today.
I can't tell, but it does look like the water is getting possibly worse up at the starting.
Yeah, it seems like the first 500 is not exactly a friendly patch of water right now, but it does look like it gets a bit better near the middle 1,000 of the race, and then I'm sure the wind is making itself known between the 1,500 and 250 there. Yeah, so we can see that our stroke rates aren't quite as high as some of our other races. I would wager to say that's a combination of lighter athletes battling some of these conditions here. A headwind is never easy for a lighter weight athlete to have to deal with. Certainly is not making anyone's life easier, but looks like our athletes are keeping their blades nice and clean and stepping out over these conditions.
Looks like these athletes are just passing the 500-meter mark, coming into the second 500 of the race.
Yeah, so it looks like we've got a fairly spread out field there, maybe 3 or 4 athletes all within striking distance of each other. We'll get a better sense of where things stand in a couple minutes here. But hopefully they should be finding a little bit of more protected water now that they're a little bit further down the track.
You can see the 1,000-meter marker these women are coming up to.
Just looking out the window here at the flags on the course, we can see that there are some significant gusts of wind coming down the course here. So I'm sure as a single sculler, that's no fun to have to deal with, but looks like these athletes are still fighting it out nonetheless, as they are trained to do, no doubt. Looks like right now, looks like the Argonaut athlete, Julia Teixeira, is in the lead right now, potentially with a sizable advantage of open water. Looks like Morgan, racing for Peterborough, is right there in the mix, followed by Kirsten Frick from SERC over there on the far side, potentially within striking distance. But right now, Julia Teixeira is seemingly controlling this race.
Around here is where athletes typically start to do a piece to try and get ahead, try and pull away. So I believe all of these athletes are starting to do something of the sorts.
Yes, no doubt that this is the part of the race where everyone is hurting, and this can be the spot where one really takes the race by the horns and can walk away from the field, as we're seeing right now from Argonaut and Peterborough. They're really stepping away from the field here, and right now it looks like we have just about a length of open water between the top 2 athletes. Morgan is going to be fighting to close that gap, as well as expand the gap to the athletes behind her.
Again, it looks like we will have a race for third place.
Yes,
It's 2 separate races.
it does.
Going on
We
here.
have, looks like we have about 2 separate races going down the course right now. Our top 2 athletes are going to be coming into some more exposed stretches here, and we can see if someone is going to make an attack, try to take advantage of some rougher water potentially. But our third place is looking currently like, I believe, Concha Hawken is sitting in the 3rd position, but closely followed behind the rest of the field. Yeah, so it looks like the wind is fairly heavy on the blades there. It looks like the stroke rate is a little bit lower than it might normally be otherwise. These athletes are really fighting through these conditions, and we'll see who can prevail. Looks like just on that flag there on the live stream, we've got a starboard side headwind. So I'm sure we are hoping that some smoother water can give us a nice sprint here. So a little bit hard to see the rest of the field, but Julia Texera is seemingly out in the front of this race. Camera angle isn't quite letting us see where Morgan has ended up, but from this angle it looks like Argonaut will be the winner of this race, and yeah, looks like there is a sizable gap there, so Argonaut takes the win in the women's under 23 lightweight single. And here comes Peterborough, seemingly, yep, for second place there, and then we'll see what transpires for third. And that looks like St. Catharines coming in for third place there, Kirsten Frick, followed by Ottawa, and I believe Conshohocken, with Undine closing out the field. So, conditions not making it easy for our lightweight women.
Our fifth race is underway. The men's under 23 double. In lane 2, we have Saratoga. Lane 3, Conshohocken. Lane 4, Potomac. Lane 5, St. Catharines. Lane 6, Penn AC. And lane 7, Craftsbury.
Now, this is the race that I have been looking forward to all day. So, racing for St. Catharines is actually my roommate, Owen Bartel, racing with Lucas Maroney in the under 23 double. So they've had a really good regatta so far, posting the fastest times across the board. So they're going to be looking to take the win in this event. And I've heard that hopefully they would like to go to U23 World Championships together next year in this event. So we should keep an eye on them and see if they will be representing Canada together as they did once as juniors in 2022. So it looks like we've got some boats managing their courses here, dealing with the wind conditions. These heavyweight men should have a little bit of a more manageable time in this wind, but it still is never fun to have to deal with a headwind on the blades. Just makes your catch always feel a little more sluggish, never as direct. It can really mess with the sense of rhythm of a crew unless a boat has really trained for it. All right, the race is just past the 500 meter now. By my eye, it looks like we have St. Catharines near the front there, with I believe Conshohocken there in the mix, and potentially Craftsbury on the far side also looking like they are close to the top of the field there. So it looks like we've got about rate 36 on St. Catharines right now. A little bit lower from Craftsbury, around a 34. Looks like we've got a bit of a gap here forming now, some open water forming behind St. Catharines. They're doing a good job stepping off the water on the finish, staying clean around the back end, which really gives them space to step over the waves and create a clean entry for themselves. So looks like right now we've got a competition for second place between, I believe, Conshohocken and Craftsbury. A little bit hard to tell, but we'll get a good sense once they come past our station here. I know last night Owen was telling me that they're really going for time here. They're not going to step off the gas at all. They're really going to try and put down the absolute best performance they can. So looks like actually Conshohocken, I believe, in a solid second place with a pretty close contact to St. Catharines there. Looks like about a boat length of open water, and both crews rating quite high. Conshohocken around a 37. With St. Catharines around a 34, as far as I can tell. So this could be a really interesting race here coming into the final 750.
I think it'll really depend on when both of those crews start their finish, depending on...
Certainly. If one crew is also affected by the wind conditions coming around the island there, could really throw a wrench in either of these crews' designs on this race.
Again, it looks like there will be a race for third place, quite possibly.
Yeah, I think from this angle, it looks like Craftsbury may have a length over Penn AC right now. Followed by Potomac with Saratoga in the rear. So by my eye, it looks like the gap between first and second has stayed somewhat the same. A little bit hard to tell, but we will see definitively closer to the finish line. So the field should be coming up on a little bit more protected water here in just a few strokes. You can see those red buoys of the 250 just about to pass the bow of the St. Catharines double, and that'll be their signal to have start their sprint. So let's see what their stroke rate does here in a moment. So looks like they have done a bit of a lift there, around a 36 or 37. Really trying to keep it clean, minimize any wobbles there, which, sometimes are unavoidable, but they're looking pretty good. And hard to tell where Conshohocken is right now, but looks like St. Catharines are out by themselves at the front of this race. And it will be St. Catharines taking the win in the under-23 men's double. Doing a little fist bump there. followed by, lane 3, Conshohocken, put up a really good race, with Craftsbury in lane 7 taking 3rd place. And then following them, I believe Penn AC, followed by Potomac, with Saratoga rounding out the field. All right, up next is Final A of the Women's Under-19 Coxed 4, racing for the Kristen French Memorial Trophy. In lane 2, we've got Westside. In lane 3, we've got Washtenaw. In lane 4, we've got Narragansett. In lane 5, we've got Greenwich. Lane 6, St. Catharines. Lane 7, Cambridge. We have 2 minutes to the listed start, so it looks like we might even be ahead of schedule here. So thankfully the wind conditions have not sent us any delays, as sometimes they will do. But in just a couple minutes here, we should be off. The athletes will be conscious of their courses. Thankfully, the coxswain will make their lives a little bit easier. Staring down the course, they can inform their crew if their bow is drifting off of their mark, and they can make appropriate adjustments. And here we go, the first few strokes of the women's under-19 coxed 4. So we can see crews immediately dealing with these conditions, taking some strokes of catching the water. It's always a challenge to get off cleanly and find the rhythm. So we should see the pace settling down here, kind of influenced by the wind. Usually the rate inevitably does come down a little bit sooner in a race when you're faced with a headwind than if it were tail or still conditions.
It's hard to tell from here, but lane 2, you can see their boat is bucket rigged, which is not super common, but it does happen for a few different reasons, depending on where they want people in the boat, what side they row on, things like that.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
Mm-hmm. We're looking at Washtenaw, I believe, right? Has the bucket in. Yeah, so from what I understand, the idea with that is a bucket rig in a 4 is the most efficient way to actually rig the boat, simply because a bow seat will have, or the bow side has the most leverage over a boat that's rather small, like a 4. So they create a greater space between the bow side seats by putting 2 athletes together in the middle, and in theory making the boat faster, more efficient to go in a straight line.
We'll see if that theory proves correct in
We
this
will
race.
see. Perhaps it will make the difference for Washtenaw. Who knows? It's looking like a fairly evenly spread out field here, coming past the 500 meter mark, approaching the 1K. Really hard to tell who is out in front by my eye. It looks like potentially Washtenaw and Greenwich, and potentially Cambridge are in strong positions here in this race.
These athletes are just passing the 500 meter mark.
1,000 meters, I believe.
Oh, we're at the 1,000 already?
Yep,
Oh,
goes
my goodness.
fast, eh?
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like we've got potentially 3 boats that are pretty evenly lined up across the course here. Yeah, it looks like Cambridge on the far side, putting in a strong performance with Washtenaw right there with him, and looks like Greenwich a little bit behind them, but we'll have a better sense once they come past the camera here. So they're just coming past our commentary station, and yeah, we've got a pretty tight race here in the top 3 boats. It actually does look like Washtenaw in lane 3 has about a length lead over the Greenwich crew in lane 5, which has about a deck on Cambridge. But hey, maybe that bucket is making the difference for Washtenaw. They're looking really clean right now, really stepping over the water really nicely with a high rate of striking. Yeah, that Washtenaw crew looks like they're going down at a 37, which is really impressive pace there for a coxed. They're a bit heavier boats, obviously, because you have to carry a coxie. So a 37 is a sign of a really well-drilled and put-together crew. So we'll see how they handle these rougher conditions before the finish, and then we'll see what the sprint brings us. So it looks like Greenwich here is really stepping up to the challenge of Washtenaw here. It looks, I think, seems Cambridge might be falling off the pace of these top 2 crews here a little bit, but looks like we might have a pretty significant fight to the line here for first place. Looks like Greenwich around 35 strokes per minute. Washtenaw way up there, 38, potentially 39 strokes. Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong crew. Cambridge is right in this race. So it looks like we're going to have a 3-boat sprint to the line here. This could be one of the closest finishes we've seen thus far in finals. Let's see who gets it. My money's on Washington. I think the bucket will pull through for him.
Yes, because the finish line is at an angle, so we're
Yep.
not straight across here.
Yeah, the Coxie throws up a celebration just before the line. They are just about 2/3 of a length up on Greenwich, who is just about half a length of water up on Cambridge. So really impressive race from Washington. I think you called it a little bit early that the bucket would be the deciding factor there. So in fourth, we've got Narragansett, followed by SCRC, and then West Side rounding out the field.
It was a very close race at the end.
Yeah, that was a fun race to watch. Fours are a lot of fun. Oh, let's see how these pairs do in these conditions. This will be a very technical boat to race here.
So this is our women's under 23 pair for the Alex Sandy Greenhill Memorial Trophy. In lane 2, we have Guelph. In lane 3, Kingston. Lane 4, Arion. Lane 5, Washtenaw. Lane 6, St. Catharines. And lane 7, Washtenaw.
Yeah, so we've got some Canadian talent in this boat. Madeline Vandermeer raced at Fizu this year in the straight 4. She's also a UBC athlete. And then in lane 6, SCRC, we've got the Durchak sisters, a formidable lightweight pairing racing for Brock. They last year were in the U23 lightweight quad that raced in St. Catharines. And I believe they consistently win the lightweight events at CUs every year. I think it'll be interesting to see how two lightweights deal with competing against heavyweight athletes in this event, especially in the pair, although knowing the skill of the Durchak sisters, I believe they will do just fine in this field. Looks like the umpire making some early race course directions there on the left side of the picture. As not surprising, looks like we've got a little bit of steering coming in on lane 4 there. A bit hard to manage the line of a pair when there's so many factors like wind and waves and whatever else you might be dealing with. So not surprising that a little bit of buoy line bashing is going on, but hopefully all crews can straighten out and it won't affect their races. Oh, looks like lane 5 Washtenaw may have made an overcorrection there and is heading into lane 4. Looks like they're correcting back again now. That's good. They didn't have to be directed by the umpire, so hopefully they can avoid getting a yellow card. Okay, looks like all of our crews are a little bit straighter now. So hopefully we won't see any lane mingling going on in this race.
From this angle, it looks like St. Catharines might be out ahead alongside Washtenaw in lane 7. It is
Yes.
definitely hard to tell.
Yeah, it is hard to tell. I think Arion might be in there a bit as well, but I think you're right. Washtenaw in lane 7 is looking like they're in a pretty good spot. I think lane 7 might be a bit of an advantaged lane on this day just because we do have that wind hitting crews from the starboard bow side of their boat. So just being closer to the shore there on lane 7 actually will make quite a bit of a difference on just how settled the water is. You might just have a very marginal bit of stiller conditions there, which can make quite a bit of a difference, especially in an event like a pair where it happens on such a fine line of performance.
You can see these athletes coming into the second 1,000-meter of the race, halfway done. Probably gonna put together a piece soon. We'll see. Maybe there will be someone that pulls ahead, falls behind. We'll see.
So it does look like it's Washtenaw, St. Catharines, and I think Arion
Yes, I
are
believe so.
near the front of the field, all within striking distance of one another. We will see momentarily as they come by the island here. So it's looking like a really tight race straight across the field. We'll see for sure once they come by, but just based on this camera here, it looks like we've got basically 3 boats dead even across bows. So coming past us now, it does look like I believe Arion is out front of this race by just about a length over St. Catharines right now. St. Catharines just having contact to them, I believe, followed by that Washtenaw crew in lane 7 just having contact to St. Catharines. So this could be a really interesting race here, unfolding into the last 750. If I were to wager, I would think that St. Catharines is going to put on quite a big sprint in the last 500 meters, and we will see how Arion responds to that.
This third 500 looks like the best water out of the whole race.
Yeah, I do believe you're right about
I
that.
think the island really helped shelter.
So it looks like St. Catharines is up at around a 36. With Arion also around a 36. And looks like Washtenaw lane 7 around a 35. So plenty of rate for these athletes to potentially find in the last stages of these races, but we'll see who manages conditions the best.
As these crews are coming into the last 250, they can definitely hear all of the fans, friends, family at the grandstand cheering them on, which definitely helps keep the rate up, keep you pushing for that last
Yeah.
little bit.
So we've got the last few strokes coming into this race right now. Stroke rates are coming up. We've got Arion right around a 39. Looks like they are in a fairly comfortable place in this race, kind of maintained their gap over St. Catharines. So yeah, it will be Arion in lane 4 takes the win by just a bit of open water over St. Catharines, with Washtenaw lane 7 about the same distance behind SCRC. Washtenaw lane 5 coming in 4th place, with Kingston, followed by Guelph bringing up the rear.
Now we're back at the starting gates for race 265, the men's senior single for the Jack Guest Memorial Trophy. In lane 2, we have Conshohocken. Lane 3, California. Lane 4, Conshohocken. Lane 5, Black Sheep. Lane 6, Brock. And lane 7, St. Catharines Rowing Club.
So it looks like we've got a fair amount of international talent in this field too. James Schmidt from Conshohocken in lane 2 has competed for the U.S. at the 2024 Under-23 World Championships in the men's quad. James Wright has competed for the U.S. at the 2022 Under-23 Championships in the men's 8. In lane 6, for racing from Brock, Ethan Woodhouse, who raced for Canada last year in the U23 men's single, representing Canada on his home course. And then from SCRC, Matt Henley, who previously rode for Brock and has won the U23 World Championships in the men's quad in 2015. So quite quite the high-performing field that we've got here, and the first strokes are just underway. Looks like a couple of missed strokes there from lane 2, James Schmidt. Looks like he just faltered there and was a little bit slower off the line.
Lane 5, a quick correction on his course there. Stayed in his lane.
Overall, a fairly straightforward start here. No major steering issues at this point in the race.
Looks like the weather might have gotten a little bit better. The waves look a little less.
Yeah, slightly.
Aggressive.
I believe the wind direction may have changed. I think it looks like it's shifting a little bit more towards the starboard side, potentially a little bit away from the headwind. Right now, it's looking like a pretty even spread across the field there. It does look like, just looking out the window, like the wind has settled down just a bit, which is good news for the single scullers who won't have to deal with such a light boat getting bounced around in the wind and waves. So doesn't look like much to call here. Looks like a really even spread across the field there. Quite difficult to tell who's in a good position right now. Potentially looks like Matthew Finley over in lane 7 could be in a good position.
And possibly Mark from Black Sheep Rowing Club.
Yeah, it seems like those middle lanes are pretty consistently in a good spot there. So it looks like we have a fairly competitive race unfolding here. I do think you're right there that the Black Sheep athlete is looking like he's in a good position. Coming up on the 1,000 meters here, we'll get a good sense of where the field is at in just a moment. Yeah, right here is probably the most protected part of the course, right close to the island. So I believe over in lane 7 there, Matthew Finley is probably going to be really taking advantage of that relatively cleaner water, as he looks like he's having a really nice front end placement, really connecting and leveraging the boat away, and it looks like it's paying off. Seems to be that he might be leading this race right now.
Not too far behind Black Sheep, and then I believe Conshohocken lane 4 and California are battling it out for third right now.
Yeah, I believe you're right. It looks like James Wright from California might actually be hunting down that Conshohocken athlete. We're just going to be able to see the field come by our station right now. So it does look like Matthew Finley has just about a length of open water on the field, potentially half a length, with James Wright from California just in second place right now, about half a length up on Black Sheep, and about one length up on Conshohocken, but a really tight race there for second place, and it looks like they may be slowly reeling in Matthew Finley right now.
Yeah, California looks like they just made a big push, and they're kind of in line with Black Sheep.
Yeah, it looks like California is really, really sending it on the power there. You can see just how aggressively his blades are snapping out of the water. It's a good sign that he's really pushing down the legs there. So they're going past the 1,500 meter mark right now. Got a bit of wind there coming off of their starboard bow side. So they're going to be dealing with that for a few strokes before they start the lift for the sprint finish. But to my eye, it looks like California does have a fair amount of momentum right now. Who's really moving that boat. It looks like he's still able to put down a lot of power. Matthew Finley's has a really high rate of striking right now. But we will see if he can hold his lead all the way through to the finish. Looks like Matt Finley is up at around a 34 right now. It's hard to tell from this angle. It looks like he has a massive gap on the field, but no doubt it is quite a bit smaller than what it looks like right now. We'll have to see if he has been able to extend his lead or not. It looks like he's in fairly good form, and it does look like the California. That looks like Conshohocken, I believe, is really fighting California right now for the position. Conshohocken is really giving it absolutely everything, with California a bit of a lower stroke rate, but really pushing the power down. But Matthew Finley is able to hold on to that gap he's built, raises his arm in victory, and Conshohocken able to sprint through California for a pretty big finish there. California looking pretty spent, no doubt a tough race there, but Matthew Finley winning the men's senior single here. That is a big achievement, no doubt. Black Sheep coming in fourth position, followed by Brock, Keith and Woodhouse, with Conshohocken in lane 2, bringing up the rear.
Now we are back up at the starting gates for our women's under 17 double. Lane 2, we have Vancouver. Lane 3, West Olympia. Lane 4, Calgary. Lane 5, Elizabeth City. Lane 6, Niagara Falls. And Lane 7, Great Bay. You can see all these boat holders volunteering their time to make this race happen. There's so many volunteers that go into this regatta every single year.
No doubt. Any rowing event really hinges on the strength of its volunteers. Such a sport like ours really depends on the community that it builds and the solidarity that the community holds with itself. So really awesome to be able to see the St. Catharines and the Niagara region coming together on this event. And we've got photographers, we've got a media team running our live stream this week, and it really is a million little things that add up to bring you the racing that we've got and the great event that we're able to host every year. We've got just the start going off right now. Looks like we're right on time, which is nice. We got maybe a little bit of sunshine coming out as well. Clouds clearing up, hopefully the wind dying off. Give these under 17 women a bit of a cleaner race. The Vancouver crew racing in lane 2 is actually coached by Jordan Henderson, who this fall is taking on the position of assistant coach at UBC after our former coach, Harris Sheldon, has gone on to better things. So we look forward to seeing what Jordan's crew can do in this race and seeing how he can transition his skills into university coaching. Looks like we've got a fairly even spread over this field as well. Looks like they are not having to contend with quite so much rough water as we were about 30-40 minutes ago. So that's positive. And we're coming up on the 500 meter mark here fairly soon, I believe. There it is, just coming into view. I think we've just gone past 500 meters.
From this angle, it looks like quite possibly Great Bay and Elizabeth City are out ahead.
Yep, I think that's probably a fair call there. Potentially West Olympia could be in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see once they get a bit closer to us, but it does look like Great Bay is really taking advantage of this water here, staying quite clean. Yeah, really having a nice pickup there. Really, you can see the blades working really well together. Quite impressive to see, actually, from U17 women. I know I was not rowing very well when I was U17.
It always seems like lane 7 is out ahead in the first 1,000 meters.
Yeah, it seems like lane 7 could be the advantage lane here, even though I believe the fastest crews are still seated in the middle lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Yeah. So it looks like lane 7 could be kind of the underdog lane here. We'll have to see if this trend continues throughout the afternoon. So it looks like we have West Olympia here, potentially just fighting Great Bay over in lane 7. A bit hard to tell, but from this angle, it looks like they could be quite close here. We'll see just in a moment as they come past our station. Could be even West Olympia a little bit ahead of the field here. It does seem to be the case. West Olympia does look like they're out ahead, and we'll see them just in a moment here. Yeah, so just coming past our station, looking like West Olympia has about one length of open water over Great Bay. Yeah, they've got a decent gap to the field, and then looks like we've got Calgary with contact about half a length back on Great Bay. So Calgary certainly in the mix, followed closely by, I believe, Elizabeth City there.
Looks like a few missed strokes for Great Bay right now, but they're back into it.
Yeah, it looks like Calgary, though, is maybe taking a bit of an advantage with momentum there. I'm not sure if they potentially saw Great Bay taking a missed stroke, but it looks like Calgary is pressing on, though it looks like West Olympia is really, really taking advantage of this field, really stepping on the gas while they can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can see a pretty sizable gust of wind there is coming basically straight at the camera off to the starboard bow side of these boats. So no doubt will make a bit of a tough few strokes there. Looks like it's kind of wound down, but they're going to be hoping for the protection of the last 250 here.
Again, these rowers can tell when they're in that last 250, when the buoys change from yellow to red. They also have that in the first 250, it goes from red to yellow. Just an indicator so they don't have to put their heads out of the boat as much as they can in order to keep their balance, especially with this weather, with this wind.
So coming up on the last 250 here, I believe it's still West Olympia controlling the front of the race, but no doubt Great Bay and Calgary are hoping to make an impact on this event here. It does seem to my eye that Great Bay might be starting their sprint now. Looks like they've lifted up the stroke rate. Let's try and get a count on it.
There's two pegs there. There's a camping and
Yeah, it looks like Great Bay up around a 37. Really, I think they're trying to charge for West Olympia's lead here. West Olympia's brought their rate up. West Olympia around a 36. And I think it might come down to the wire, but I believe West Olympia looks like they still have a bit of an advantage here. We'll see if they have enough track. I'm sure they're hoping for the finish line to come as soon as possible, but it looks like they're going to be able to pull this off. Yeah, despite the best efforts of Great Bay, West Olympia takes the victory. No doubt a monumental effort there, but a great sprint from Great Bay, with Calgary taking the third place, followed by Elizabeth City. And basically a photo finish there between Vancouver and Niagara Falls. I'm not sure who took that there, but basically a dead even sprint there. So great to see the competition all the way to the line, regardless of the place in the race. That we love to see that kind of spirit.
100%. And now we are on to the men's under 23 lightweight single. In lane 2, we have Conshohocken. Lane 3, Peterborough. Lane 4, Ridgewood. Lane 5, GMS Rowing Center. Lane 6, Guelph. And lane 7, Kingston. And they are off.
So significant athlete in this race is in lane 3, race for Peterborough, Riley Watson. He has raced in the U23 lightweight quad last year in St. Catharines. So he'll be one to look out for, going out at a high rate. Right now it looks like lane 7, Kingston, has gotten a good start, along with lane 3 and looks like lane 6 all had quite good starts, but it looks like lane 7 is really taking advantage of the higher rate there and potentially that more protected water on that side of the course.
Yeah, from this angle, it definitely looks like he is a little bit out ahead. Same with lane 4. He's definitely ahead of lane 5.
Looks like the race is coming up on the 500 here, potentially just going by it now. Yeah, there we see the marker. And it was looking like a fairly evenly spread across field, potentially with that lane 7 advantage there, going to Kingston. But it also does look like lane 3, Peterborough, could be in a good position as well, though we will see in just a moment.
Does look like lane 7, Kingston, is out in front.
Potentially followed by Peterborough and potentially Ridgewood, although Ridgewood, GMS, and Guelph all look pretty close to each other. We'll see in just a moment here, but the Kingston athlete in lane 7 is really at a aggressive rate there. I wonder if that protected stretch of water right there is quite helping him out. He's right around 36 strokes per minute, looking pretty clean, but looks like Riley Watson of Peterborough is in competition there for first place. We'll see them coming by the station just in a moment here, but looks like actually Peterborough might be in control of this race just by a little bit, but we'll see momentarily.
From our angle, it does look like Peterborough is out ahead.
Yeah, looks like about a length of open water, honestly, on the rest of the field. And then we do have lane 7 fighting for second with, I believe, Ridgewood. Although Conshohocken not far off that pace, but it does look like Riley Watson from Peterborough is out in front of this field right now. A little bit of a bumpy stroke there from Ridgewood. Got to be careful in these conditions. Even though I do believe the wind has died down a bit, there's still plenty that could force an error. Yeah, we can see the wind there hitting the flag, though it doesn't look like it's hitting the water too much and stirring it up, but that could still play quite a big factor, even if it's not stirring up the water. It can skim right across it and create a lot of drag on the blades there.
If you're not feathering and squaring efficiently, the wind could definitely catch a blade.
Yeah, no doubt. It takes a lot more effort to properly control the blades in a wind like this. Takes a lot more kind of wrist control there and a lot more kind of stable platform to really be able to manage these kind of conditions. But looks like everyone's doing a pretty good job of it. So everyone's staying pretty clean, although no doubt I'm sure it doesn't feel the best in this moment.
Coming into the last 500 meters of this race, sure these athletes will start putting on a finish once they get to those red buoys. I think it'll be...
Yeah, no doubt we'll see fireworks from these lightweight athletes. If anyone senses that they have a possibility here for the win, that no doubt they will give absolutely everything to the line to try and make that happen. Looks like we are seeing lane 7 Kingston taking up that rate. I'm sure he's seen those final buoys. His clock is right here. Looks like he's almost pushing a 40 there. Really pushing Riley Watson in lane 3. Watson's taking up his rate as well. And looks like Peterborough might be able to hold on to this advantage. May have just been a bit too much. Yep. For Kingston to overcome. Yeah, he nods. And, whoa, bit of a collision almost there at the finish line. Conshohocken got a little too excited there. Pretty close field, though, all finishing within a fairly tight margin. So, good race from Riley there. Impressive result.
Moving on to our women's senior lightweight double. We have in lane 2, UBC, lane 3, Conshohocken, lane 4, Botafogo. I apologize if I butchered that. Lane 5, Argonaut, lane 6, Fetimex, and lane 7, Montreal.
Yeah, so no doubt Mexico is going to be, I think, the crew to look at here. We've got athletes in this boat that have represented at Pan Am Games 2023 and the U23 light double in 2024. So the bow seat of this boat has been on this course racing this event just about a year ago this week. So no doubt she'll be bringing that experience with her to hopefully bring home the trophy on today's race.
I believe lane 4 is also a crew to look at. They're from Brazil. Our stroke was the 2018 winner for the Athletes Excellence Award, and Bao competed at the 2022 Worlds. So we've got a lot of talent in this race here.
Yeah, so it looks like we might have a mix of some older, more experienced senior athletes with some more freshly seniorified lightweight athletes here. So this should promise to be a pretty good race. We've got the start coming up in 1 minute. Looks like the final adjustments are being made to the courses here. We should be off any second. Things are going off right on time today. Kind of feel like an airline pilot saying that.
A little bit. Excited. We will have some bigger boats coming up after this race.
Right on. Yeah, coming up, we've got the men's under 19 coxed 4, which that'll be an important race for any one of these athletes looking to go on to university. I know the coxed 4 is a big deal. And then we've got the senior women's 8 coming up, which is going to be super fun. And then women's under 17 8, as well as some lightweight 8s coming up later on this afternoon.
And this race is underway. Looks like pretty good courses from everyone. Strong strokes coming into the first 500 meters of this race.
Yeah, it looks like a fairly evenly spread across course, or spread across field in the first 250. Doesn't look like anyone's jumped out to a significant advantage at this point. So again, the crews that potentially to be looking out for are lane 4, Botafogo, and lane 6, Fetimex.
In lane 5, Argonaut, Julia Texera's racing again. We were talking about her earlier.
She
single.
She won the under 23 lightweight single, so she's having a huge day. Something about lightweights, they just got that dog in them, you know. Do a million races a day and somehow win them all. I don't know how. I don't even know.
I don't know.
Crazy. I'm wiped out after one race.
Right?
So coming up on the 500 meters here, or just past it, it does look like the Mexican crew and I believe the Brazilian crew have a little bit of an advantage. Bit hard to tell. Looks like Mexico could be a little bit ahead of the rest of the field here, but we'll see in a moment. It does look like the Mexican combination is really laying down some big strokes there as they are trying to sneak away from the rest of the field. It does look like they have a bit of a lead here. Just coming up on the 1,000 meters here. We'll have a good sense in a moment of where the field lays, but it looks like potentially Conshohocken really making a push here for the lead, potentially, depending on the angle. We'll see. It does look like Mexico is making quite a statement here.
And we have Argonaut and Botafogo close in behind here, passing the 1,000-meter marker.
No doubt. It does look like Conshohocken's moving really well, though. They look quite strong, quite composed, really nicely put together. They might even be out in the front of this race. Yeah, looks like Conshohocken is taking this one in this moment. Coming by our station, we'll see what the gap looks like.
Looks like the Brazilian crew is pulling away from Argonaut currently as they're passing us right now.
Yeah, I believe Conshohocken has about one length over Mexico, who has one length over the Brazilians. So there's potential for a three-way battle here for first place, but it does look like Conshohocken has a lot of momentum, a lot of strength in the legs there. Really like the kind of impulse that they're putting through their blades right now.
Mm-hmm.
Although it looks like Brazil has just made a move.
Again, it is very hard to tell from these camera angles because the course isn't straight across. You'll see at the finish it is a little bit angled. So we will have to see once we get down there.
Yes, we will. By my eye, it looks like Botafogo has made quite a big move there, along with Conshohocken. I think those two crews may have kind of clocked each other and stepped together. So we will see. No doubt Mexico is not out of this race, and no doubt they'll put in a sprint to claim victory.
Looks like Argonaut is picking up their pace, trying to stay in this race.
Yeah. Does look like UBC is a little bit off the pace right now. They're going to have to put in quite a lot of effort to drag this field back. But Argonauts, they do look like they have kind of sensed Botafogo's energy right there, and looks like they're trying to claw back something right now. But I think it looks like the whole field has kind of raised their rate of striking. Looks like we've got Conshohocken at about a 37. Mexico a little bit lower, around a 36. And it looks like Botafogo has tried to make a move, but I think Conshohocken has matched them and will be barreling to the line here. Looks like they might be in control of this race, looking really strong. You can see just how much power they're putting through those blades. The snap at the finish is a good indicator of just how much is going through the water right now.
Amazing finish.
Yeah, really commanding race there from Conshohocken. And
It's hard to tell
I
with that
can't.
one.
I don't think I can
know.
call that. That was right at the line for second place.
Oh yeah.
Really interesting finish there.
Argonaut
And Botafogo has just gotten that finish by, it looks like 1/10 of a second.
Those are the unofficial times.
I'll go double check that.
Got Montreal coming in, finishing off strong. It was a very close race.
Yeah, so Botafogo took second place in that race by 0.3 of a second. So really not much separating those two crews. Really good race there.
We are off to the men's under 19 Cox 4. In lane 2, we have Hawk Rowing Club. Lane 3, OKC River Sport. Lane 4, Buffalo. Lane 5, CRI. Lane 6, Buffalo. And lane 7, OKC River Sport.
You know, this is a little disappointing. No Canadian crews in the final of the U19 Cox 4. Come on, guys. What are we doing here?
What are we doing? Got 2 crews. There's doubles of 2 crews in this race.
Okay, we're gonna have to make sure we're calling the right lanes on this one. Trying not to confuse anybody here.
You can see lane 3 here. It's bucket rigged. Just like what we saw with, I believe it was Washtenaw in that one race.
Yeah. Right about that. That was the women's under 19 Cox 4. So we'll see. Maybe the bucket will prevail on this race too.
Same lane, I believe, too.
Same lane. You're right. You're right about that. Lane 3.
Interesting.
So, very interesting. So we're just about to go off. Start time is supposed to be right now, so should be any moment here. We'll be launching off the line. Crews making their final adjustments to the course. No doubt they're feeling the tension right now, being held to catch there.
And they're off. Well, there's another bucket rig boat, lane 5.
Impressive how many buckets there are in these junior races. I couldn't say we ever bucketed a 4 when I was racing junior. I don't know. Maybe we weren't that good.
Maybe not. I don't think I ever had one of those either. Looks pretty even so far, at least from this angle. Quite possibly lane 6, Buffalo.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Coxswains are all doing a good job keeping their crew in a straight line, not trying to lose any, or not trying to row any extra meters. All crews are looking pretty clean through the water there. Pretty composed. I do think you're right about lane 6 Buffalo. Kind of getting out ahead, and they're looking pretty clean there. Potentially lane 7 River Sport. Also looking fairly clean.
That is something to note. If you're going all around the course, that adds seconds on your time, and that could be a make or break, especially in these finals.
100%. I mean, we saw how close that finish was in the last race for second place, so it does matter. Just coming past the 500 now. Looking like lane 6 is having a good start to their race. So we will see where else in the field competition is coming from.
From this angle, it does look like Buffalo, Lane 6, and River Sport are out ahead.
Yes, Riversport lane 7.
Yes, I forgot there's a second one of
I know.
that crew in this race.
Hard to
Looks
keep
like
track of sometimes.
CRI close behind.
Yeah, looks like we've got some crews out of shot there on the right, so they might be closer to the front of the pack than we can tell right now, but the field is coming up on the 1,000 meters here. And looking strong from lane 6 Buffalo. Going down the course at around a 34 half. So fairly impressive pace there from this crew. Certainly just letting the boat flow through the water there. Coming past the 1,000 meters now. Does look like CRI is right there in the mix. Potentially could be ahead of lane 7 River Sport. We'll see what the angle reveals to us in a moment here. So as the race is coming past our station, we do have lane 6 Buffalo out front, followed very closely by CRI and lane 7 River Sport, with CRI just having about a half lead advantage over lane 7. But I'm sure lane 6 Buffalo is having a pretty good feeling right now, being able to see the entire field. Gives you a bit of a sense of control when you can see all your competition and what kind of moves they're about to make.
Oh, definitely. And it helps you stay motivated because you're ahead and you can see all the crews behind you. You just know you have to pull away, make that gap bigger.
Yeah. When you can see and react to what the crews behind you are doing, it gives you a lot of leverage over the race, and no doubt their coxie is urging them on to higher paces right now. So entering the last 500, they're going to be starting to gear up for the sprint here, probably making calls to kind of relax the boat right before they start to really lay down the final effort.
It is interesting to see every boat in this race is a bow rider, coxie.
Yeah, from what I understand about Ford design is that the bow loader design is the faster kind of boat. You don't see many new, or potentially any new, fours being made with a stern-loaded coxie configuration.
Which does make sense.
Yeah, it sure does. I guess if it's faster, then it's what everyone wants. Buffalo now at a really high rate of striking. I think they've sensed the finish line, felt the pull of victory here. They're up at a 38 now, and I'm sure that they're sensing the movement of the crews behind them, and they just want to put them back in their puddles and get to the line as fast as possible. But looks like we're going to have quite the race here for second place between CRI and lane 7 River Sport. Yeah, really impressive sprint finish there from Buffalo, taking it all the way to the line. pushing close to a 40 there, and looks like CRI just takes it by about a deck over lane 7 River Sport. And then we've got lane 4 Buffalo coming just outside the medals, with Hawk Rowing Club coming next, with lane 3 River Sport closing out this race. All right, we've got 8s coming up next. Let's go.
Very exciting to watch. Love watching 8s. See how busy the island is right there.
Yeah, lots of people, lots of movement.
Okay, as these boats are getting into the starting gates, we've got lane 2 Calgary, lane 3 Calgary, lane 4 Riverside, lane 5 St. Catharines, lane 6 Kingston, and lane 7 West Side. This is the women's senior 8. Two, possibly 3 of the girls in the St. Catharines boat I know used to row with at Crosley. Now they're rowing for St. Catharines.
I believe the coxswain of the St. Catharines boat is also one of the coxies at Brock, Serafina Dell.
Mm-hmm. So they would have an advantage, as they would row on this course quite often.
No doubt. Yeah, they have a sense of where they want to be and how they want to race this race. In the Kingston boat, we've got some athletes to watch out for: Abby Spears, Claire Ellison, both racing for Kingston.
This is going to be a fast race, I believe.
Yes, no doubt. We've got some international talent as well here. Claire Ellison's got a bronze medal in the U23-8 from 2023. That was Bulgaria, I believe. And Abby Spears, former UVic women's team athlete, I believe, also. So these people will definitely know their way around an 8 race.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we'll see some fireworks going off here.
We are off to a very fast start. St. Catharines, it looks like, is a little bit ahead already with
a little bit
Kingston.
of steering there, though. Don't want to be doing that too much. We want to really minimize how much steering we're doing, especially in an 8, where that steering can kind of throw off the balance of the boat and really prevent your crew from kind of locking into that rhythm for 5 strokes, 10 strokes even, and that makes a huge difference in a competition like an 8.
Looks like they've straightened out and maybe gotten their course. Could have just been a weird start.
Yeah, weird starts happen. You gotta really pay attention to things like that. But looks like to me St. Catharines and Kingston both got quite good starts there. We'll see how the rest of this race unfolds, but very high rates here that we're seeing. Kingston off that. Let's see. Around a 37 there, 38. So still quite high up in the rates there. I'm sure those will settle down into a sustainable rhythm, but with a experienced crew, especially with someone like Abby Spears in stroke of that boat, you can really push the limit of what kind of rate you're pushing.
Now these women are coming up to the first 500-meter marker. It's definitely hard to tell again with this angle. It looks like Calgary lane 3 might be out a little bit, but definitely St. Catharines lane 5 and Kingston lane 6, even West Side lane 7. I think everyone is still definitely in this race.
Yeah, it does look like St. Catharines and Kingston are fighting at the front of this field. Okay, we're coming through the 1,000 meters here now. We're going to see exactly who's leading this race. By my eye, it looks like St. Catharines might have the advantage here. Just the angle is making them look like they're behind, but it looks like St. Catharines might have as much of as a length over Kingston would be my guess. In that St. Catharines boat, there is got Makeda Harrison, who raced in the junior pair in 2023 for Canada and now rows at Penn. So we've got some pretty outstanding international talent in that boat as well. So no doubt a lot of pedigree in this event here. And you can really tell with the composure that these boats are racing down the course with. Really clean blades from St. Catharines, looking really good there. And they're just about to come past our commentary station here. And we'll see what kind of gap we've got. So it's looking like St. Catharines does have a little bit of clear water over Kingston. I'd say about a quarter length, maybe a little bit more, but looking really clean, really composed. The water's definitely settled down a little bit. We've got coming in fighting for third place. We've got Calgary and Riverside there kind of fighting it out within maybe 2 seats of each other. So very close competition there.
In that St. Catharines boat, we have Sarah Stacy and Emma Goodhart, who won the Harpwoods Trophies Award for the Senior Team of the Year, and they won at Head of the Charles in Boston this year as well.
Yeah, Boston, Head of the Charles is a massive deal to win. If you're winning Head of the Charles, you know you're in a good spot. So I think this St. Catharines boat has a lot of energy right now, and they're looking really clean, really powerful. We'll see if Kingston can launch an attack here that could overturn the St. Catharines boat. Just coming into the final stretch here, about to hit the 250 to go. We're going to see these crews lifting up the rate here. It looks like St. Catharines might be controlling this. It's hard to tell what the gap is looking like, but I don't see Kingston moving significantly here. St. Catharines up around a 36, 37. Still plenty of room for them to sprint to the line with that. Kingston looking composed. They're going to need to have been going now, really getting a lot of momentum. 8s are a hard boat to turn around a gap like that in such a short time. So you got Kingston around a 37, 38, really pushing that rate up. But St. Catharines has quite a substantial margin here. Looks like they've got open water, and that's a huge gap to turn around in an 8.
Looks like St. Catharines is going to be taking this win here. Kingston very close in behind for second place.
Big celebrations from St. Catharines there. Kingston coming in just about 3/4 of open water behind. The race for third coming in with Calgary.
Lane 3, Calgary.
Lane 3, Calgary, thank you. Winning by just under half a boat length.
And then we had Riverside and now West Side and Calgary Lane 2 coming in right now.
All right. Senior Women's 8. That was a good race. Impressive from St. Catharines. Really commanded that race. Had a lot of quality there on display.
Now we have the men's under 17 quad. In lane 2, we have White Marsh. Lane 3, St. Catharines. Lane 4, Bridgewood. Lane 5, Cambridge. Lane 6, South Niagara. And lane 7, Aurelia.
Got just a couple minutes here before this quad goes off, so they'll be called up to the ready position by the umpires in just a moment, and they're making their final adjustments to their course. Bowseat's going to be probably continuously checking over his shoulder, making sure that they're in line. You don't want to be starting off at an angle because you will be doing extra meters.
You can see our little spider friend crawling across the camera there.
I guess he's made a home of the camera housing or something like that. Oh, and we're off. Look at that. Oh, okay. Spider's visiting again. He's a chill guy. Okay, and then we go. We've seen a little bit of steering there, so that's going to be some extra strokes for, I think that's Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
But that really is inevitable at some point. Without a coxie, there's always going to be stuff like that, so it's what you make of it after the fact.
Definitely.
It does look like, though, despite that, Cambridge has had quite a good start. Potentially Ridgewood, Cambridge, and South Niagara all kind of jumping out in front, potentially, as far as I can tell. But we will have to wait and see for sure. It does look like the wind has settled down significantly. It's still kind of blowing down the course as a bit of a headwind, but it doesn't look like it's quite as bad as it was about an hour and a half ago. So that is a positive.
In lane 6, South Niagara, we have Cam Jackson and Hunter Tassone. They won Crosley's first gold at the CSSRA Championships this year, which was pretty good, pretty big regatta. Sure.
No doubt. Yeah, that's a big deal for the under 17s. Which event was that they won in?
It was in the men's junior double.
Oh, good for them.
And then I believe they had rowed quite possibly with my brother at some point with Crosley as well. Now they're rowing in Welland.
Oh, good for them. Right on. Okay, so past 500 now. All the crews looking pretty clean. It does look like, I believe that's Cambridge. Looks like they've got a pretty solid position in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially Cambridge and Ridgewood looking quite good there. Yeah, all right, coming up in the 1,000 now. Does look like Cambridge and Ridgewood are right at the front there. A little bit hard to tell exactly who's in front. Angle could be showing a little bit an advantage to Cambridge right now, but we'll have to see once they come past. I will say the Cambridge crew is looking quite clean there, really setting up their bodies well out of the finish and just approaching that front end connection with a lot of patience and stillness. So really good to see out of a U17 quad there. Same with Ridgewood, really impressive placement from them, looking really composed there. So they're just coming past our station now. Looks like we've got Cambridge to a bit of an advantage, just about half a length. Really not a lot, and that can change pretty quickly in a boat like a quad, especially a U17 quad, where these athletes don't have quite as much experience as some of our seniors. So it'll be really interesting to see if Ridgewood launches an attack here. Both crews looking strong, though Ridgewood is looking quite lively, I would say, looking like they've got a lot of dynamicism to their stroke. Kind of a big word for me. Still got that bit of a headwind there, probably making their lives a little bit uncomfortable. It looks like White Marsh might be a little bit close to the buoy line there, potentially encroaching on SCRC's lane a little bit. It looks like they might be moving away a bit now, but it looks like Ridgewood has kind of stepped up the pace here. Their stroke rate, at least, looks like they're really wanting to hit the front of this field here before they running out of track. Yeah, it looks like Ridgewood up at 36, 37, while Cambridge is right around, let's see, right around a 34, 34 half. So I think Ridgewood is really going for it right now. Hard to tell exactly if they are overtaking Cambridge, but from this angle, it looks like Cambridge might be maintaining their bit of a gap here. I think they may have stepped up to their sprint now as they're coming into the red buoys.
It looks like it could possibly be a race for third, maybe even second. It depends if these crews really pick up their finish to catch up to Ridgewood.
Yeah, it does look like Cambridge has kind of just twisted the screw here and pressed themselves away from, Cambridge has pressed themselves away from Ridgewood, rather. Looks like Cambridge has actually brought it down coming into the finish. They don't look like they're going for the all-out sprint to the line, so looks like they closed that door when they could, and big celebrations from them.
Big celebration.
Yeah, Ridgewood comes across the line, hitting that white buoy there. Really impressive race from Cambridge. They were pressured there, and with about 7:50 to go, and they really rose to it, stepped away from the Ridgewood crew.
It looked like that was South Niagara in third, St. Catharines fourth, and then White Marsh, I believe, close in behind.
I believe that looks like
Aurelia.
Aurelia bringing up the rear.
Now we are on to the women's under 19 single. We have in lane 2, Dawn Rowing. Lane 3, Vancouver. Lane 4, Brevisnik. Again, I apologize if I butchered that. Lane 5, Great Bay. Lane 6, Edmonton. And lane 7, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so in lane 2 from Dawn, Elizabeth Najar, I think, is someone to look out for. She raced for Canada in the under-19 double last year in St. Catharines, so she's got some experience sculling on this course here. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes, though she is on the furthest lane from the island, so it might be a little bit more exposed on her side of the course. We'll see how much of a factor that plays in. It seems like it's kind of died down at this point.
The weather definitely has gotten a little bit better, especially for these smaller boats. Can see these women making sure their course is straight as they're waiting for their call to start. We still have a couple minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes to go, so they'll be called up to the ready position at any second now. And then we'll be off.
It's always so nerve-wracking being in those starting gates, just that anticipation for the green light and the horn to go. I can't even imagine.
Well, we are lucky enough here that we don't have to do floating starts at Henley. So there's a little bit of pressure taken off that at the very least. But the waiting is never fun. So they've been called to ready position and they've been sent off.
Very fast start from lane 4.
Yes, Buravesnik had, I think, quite a good start there. Great Bay looks like hanging on there as well, but yeah, Maria Prodan from Buravesnik, quite a good start. Looking like Buravesnik there has kind of taken a bit of the lead on this race from this kind of angle. A little bit hard to tell, but looking like lane 4 is in a strong position, potentially followed by lane 5. So it looks like lane 7 could be also in contestation.
I believe Buravesnik is from Ukraine.
Okay.
So very long ways from home here in St. Catharines.
Yeah, that's a pretty special thing to be able to come over and race. I mean, to all the crews that come internationally, thank you for being here. It makes everyone better to be able to race against such a wide-reaching and high-quality pantheon of athletes. So approaching the 500-meter mark here, looks like the field is fairly well spread across. Can't really say for sure who is taking the lead right now, but we're through the 500 and we'll be seeing in a few minutes what the field is looking like. So by my eye, it's looking like potentially lane 2, 4, 5, and 7 could all be within striking distance of each other. So this could turn out to be quite an interesting race here. The premier women's single for the junior categories. So coming up through the 1,000 meters here. We've got quite a close race, it looks like. These athletes all sculling quite well, quite cleanly. Barvesnik is looking quite composed, I would say, strong through the body swing, which is always a good sign of some composure and some energy in a race here. So it does look like lane 4 is out in front of this race. We'll see exactly by how much in a moment. But it is looking like the rest of the field is within striking distance here. Potentially lane 2 could be actually within contact of lane 4. Just based on the angle here, it does look like there is a bit of an overlap, potentially even a bit of a lead there for lane 2, Elizabeth Najjar. We'll see as they come by. It's certainly very close, almost bow ball for bow ball between lane 2 and lane 4. Yep, it looks like lane 2 just barely has a lead, potentially less than 1 deck length over lane 4. I think lane 4 is going to be kind of pressed here to respond to this move by lane 2, keeping her composure and reeling back lane 2 here. So we could have quite an interesting finish depending on how much energy each of these athletes has in the tank. Looks like we've got basically a direct onto headwind here. But both of these athletes in the top 2 positions sculling quite cleanly, looking like they're getting a lot of connected and effective length through their stroke there. I'd say Elizabeth Najjar looks quite composed coming into the last 250 here. I'd say it looks like the Barvesnik athlete in lane 4 has started to bring up the rate, looking to hopefully build some momentum here into the last 250. A lot can change in a single. You can pick up a lot of speed very quickly and turn a race around without too much runway left. Looks like Barvesnik in lane 4 is around a 33 stroke rate. We will see what lane 2 is pacing at in a moment here, if we can get eyes on. Looks like lane 2 is right around a 35. But it looks like Barvesnik may have made a move here. Hard to tell with the angle, but it does look like she may have put a bit of water in between her and Elizabeth Najjar. We'll see once it comes down to the line.
It does look like she is out ahead here.
Yeah, I think she may have put a pretty significant move down there in between the 1250 and the 1750. Huge effort from Maria Pro down here to take the win in the under 19 women's single, beating out Elizabeth Najjar. the former Team Canada junior athlete there.
Does look like she stopped a little bit before the finish there. In lane
Elizabeth?
2, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Which you always want to remember to
Yeah.
row all the way through. But
Well,
sometimes you see that.
yeah. Who knows what happened there in that race? Any number of things could have been there, but huge effort from Maria Prodan there. Really great to see a Ukrainian athlete coming over and doing so well. I'm sure it made the trip worth it.
Now we have a little bit smaller of a race. We have only 4 crews. This is the men's senior lightweight 4. In lane 3, we have Buffalo. In lane 4, St. Catharines. In lane 5, NYAC. In lane 6, we have Ottawa. Believe in lane 4, St. Catharines, 3-seat rode with my younger brother, who is also racing this Henley, and I used to row with 2-seat back in Jordan Harbor.
I will say the New York AC boat is running a very nice bit of equipment there. The bow rigged Felipe is quite a trick little hull there, so we'll see if they will use it to great effect. It looks like they got off really clean there, and this looks like it could be quite a good race. All crews got off nice and straight.
It does look like lane 3 Buffalo was a little bit to the left in lane 2. Luckily, there's no other boat there.
Yes, I think you were actually right.
But they're straightened out now. It
looks like Buffalo is also going quite hard to make up that difference. No doubt when that happens, it always throws up a bit of nerves at the start of a race, and you always work a little extra hard to get yourself back in there.
Mm-hmm.
Does look like Buffalo had a good start, irrespective of any steering that they were doing. Now it looks like SCRC might be doing a little bit of steering. Max Schiller in that boat is a UVic athlete. He's sitting in the bow. All looking fairly even across the course, though.
It does look like Buffalo might be.
It does look like Buffalo may have a bit of an advantage. Looks like the umpire is flagging one of the crews to adjust their course. Not sure if that was SCRC.
I think they're all kind of going a little bit wiggly down.
It's a free-for-all.
It happens, At least everyone's doing it. It's not just one crew.
I mean, as long as they don't leave their lane, they're not going to get a yellow card. They'll be all right.
Exactly.
We might just have to row a couple extra strokes.
Mm-hmm.
But it is looking fairly even. I think you might be right about Buffalo there, by having a slight advantage over the field.
And after this race, we only have 3 left for the day.
Wow. All right.
Almost done.
Yeah, coming up, we've got a senior pair, got a lightweight women's 8, and then a women's U17 8. So, should be some fun racing.
Mm-hmm.
Got some Team Mexico athletes coming up, and we've got some more big boats, which is always fun to watch. All right, coming up on the 1,000 meters here in this lightweight senior 4. It does look like Row Buffalo is doing quite well, especially with the angle. It makes boats closer to the camera look like they're farther back than they are, I believe. So it looks like Row Buffalo might be in a really good position here. Although, looks like New York Athletic Club is not letting them get away easily. Yeah, so it looks like Row Buffalo here has open water over New York AC, who is rowing quite cleanly, very technically sound there. But Row Buffalo is laying down quite a lot of power, it looks like, and really just stepping the boat out of the water here.
Looks like St. Catharines might be putting a piece together right now, trying to catch up to New York AC.
It does look like, though, that Row Buffalo has over a length of open water to the next closest boat, New York AC. But yeah, I think you're right. It does look like St. Catharines is trying to launch an attack here. So we'll see if they can overrun this New York club here. But this Buffalo crew is looking really strong, managing that headwind really well. Super clean blades. You can see them really releasing the water together. It creates a lot of nice run on the boat. It makes a huge difference when you're faced with conditions like these. So we'll see what St. Catharines can launch here. But it does look like, barring some kind of crab, knock on wood, Buffalo is in a great position to win this race. We've got the finish line camera pulled up now. Looks like we're starting final sprints here. Coming up into the last 250, you'll see the buoys in a moment. Row Buffalo is up at 35, 36 strokes per minute. Looks like New York AC is making a big move here, though. Up at a high stroke rate, over 40 strokes per minute. Putting up to almost 41 here. Let's see if New York AC can put on a charge and actually overhaul Buffalo. Buffalo isn't able to quite bring the rate up, and they're not quite as clean there on the releases at this point as New York AC, looking really crisp there. Looks like they've got a big sprint now. Let's see if they can actually run out of water here. They might not have quite enough space, and it looks like Buffalo might just be able to hold on there. Yeah, it was too little too late from New York. Big shout from Buffalo there. Although big, impressive sprint from New York. I'd say they looked really clean, really put together for that entire race. They just needed a little bit more sauce to get the job done.
Got St. Catharines in third here.
Yep, and then
Ottawa.
A little ways back.
Yeah.
Ottawa.
Closing
the
it
rear.
out.
All right.
I believe that race was just a straight final.
That tracks. Yes.
Now we are on to the last three races of the day. Still got a couple minutes for the next one. It's men's senior pair. Race 274.
Wow. A lot of racing.
You can see now we've got lane 2, Calgary, lane 3, Western, lane 4, Betamex, lane 5, Wisconsin, lane 6, Calgary, and lane 7, Vesper.
So the bow seat of the Mexico boat raced in the U23 men's quad in 2022. So I'm going to see hopefully some good racing from Mexico. And yeah, senior pair. Sammy Ross racing for Calgary, another UVic athlete who I've raced against before as part of the university season. So best of luck to Sam Ross. Good to see him out there. Also, 2 Calgary boats in this race. Got to pay attention to that.
We will have to make sure we specify. It's always nice to see people you've rode with or people you know racing.
Yeah, just a couple minutes here before this race gets sent off, so you'll see the crews called to attention just shortly. Looks like Mexico is ready to go, and looks like the call has been made. Some final adjustments there before the start of this race. And then you can see in the background the 8s getting lined up, ready to go. I'm sure they're itching to send it down the course here. Okay, pairs are sitting ready.
And they are off.
A little bit of steering there from Mexico.
They corrected.
Yep. Going off quickly. All boats looking like they've got a successful start. A little bit of flag waving from the umpires, making sure everyone's straight and safe. And we'll see how this unfolds. To my eye, it looks like Calgary Lane 6 may have gotten a fairly handy start. Potentially Vesper as well. We'll have to see. And no doubt keep an eye on Mexico because I'm sure they'll keep turning up the heat throughout this race.
It's interesting to see how different crews do different starts.
Yeah.
And what they believe is the fastest start.
Definitely. I mean, you may have some athletes that were previously lightweights and are really comfortable going off a 47 stroke per minute type thing. Some people may start a little slower and ramp up to a higher speed, but we will see what kind of result we pull out of this race here. It looks like things are fairly evenly spread out across the field. Doesn't look like any one crew is super on top of everyone else yet. Mexico's looking really dynamic right now, though. A lot of movement in the boat, like a lot of energy. You can kind of see the bowman really like reaching out for all the length he can get there. Does look like Mexico has had quite a good start. I think Western may be looking like they're a little bit down off the field there. I'm sure Wisconsin will want to be close in this race. They come up to Henley every year. All usually do quite well. Past the 500 now, approaching the 1,000. The rates from Mexico are quite high. Let's try and get a count on that. Looking like a 37 thereabouts for Mexico. Definitely working quite hard right now. Coming up on the 1,000 meter. Looks like might be Calgary Lane 6 there, I believe. In quite a good position. We'll see how they are lined up against Mexico just because of that angle there, but it looks like they're doing a really nice, long, smooth stroke there, really leveraging. They look like pretty tall guys, so I'm sure they're doing the most they can. Field to be coming by the island here in a second, so we'll get a sense of what the gaps are looking like. Race is just coming by our station now. Looks like really tight racing here between Calgary and Mexico. Hard to say. Looks like Calgary might just have an edge, just under half a length, it looks like. Potentially just a deck ahead of Mexico. But I have a feeling Mexico is going to have a couple gears here that they're going to be able to find and really push Calgary to the line. So we'll see if Calgary can to rise to the occasion here. Looks like the wind is chilled out just a bit. Water's looking nice and flat right now. So I'm sure these pair athletes are quite thankful to be able to have a little bit more neutral conditions. You can still kind of see that wind blowing from the starboard bow side there. No kind of avoiding that. It's kind of a feature, not a bug of Henley. But we'll see in a moment here what the gap is looking like between Mexico and Calgary, lane 6. By my guess, it's going to be a really tight finish here. I think Mexico is really stepping it up now. It looks like they've just taken a bit of a move. Really high rate of striking right now. Looks like they're well over a 40, around a 42 it looks like. Calgary high as well, not quite as high as Mexico. Right around a 38. But looks like Calgary is going to be really trying to hold off that attack. And Mexico's really digging deep now. We'll see what the angle reveals to us in a moment here, but I think this might be coming down to a wire. Mexico stepping it up. They're still holding that high rate. Calgary, though, Calgary is sprinting for the line. I don't think it could come fast enough for them. Looks like they're over a 40 at this point. Really, looks like they're working hard for it. I think they're wanting the finish line to come as fast as possible, but I think they might just get there in time.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
This is so
I may have spoken
close.
too soon.
I do not know on that one.
I think that may be Calgary. No, looks like it was Mexico.
Oh,
No, it switched again. Looks like 0.1 second, 0.11 seconds win for Calgary right there. That is a huge race, closest race of the day for sure.
and those are the unofficial times that we have right now,
Unofficial times. Yes, that's true.
just
So
in case.
0.11 seconds may change. I don't know.
Still,
Check on Regatta Master, everybody.
oh yes,
You'll see the official results posted there.
still amazing race from all of these
Yeah, it
athletes.
was really fun to watch.
In this next race, we only have 2 boats competing, so it will definitely be an interesting one to watch.
I'm looking forward to this. It'll be a rematch of the Open Women, the Senior Women's 8 that we saw St. Catharines take the win in. St. Catharines Kingston rematch here. So
There we go.
hopefully we're getting fired up, and we're about to see some fireworks go on. A little bit of a slugfest go on in this last race.
This is the women's under 23 lightweight 8. Lane 4, St. Catharines. And lane 5, Kingston.
Okay, so officially in the men's pair, it was a 0.1 second win for Calgary over Mexico. Huge win for Calgary. That's awesome to see.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. This Kingston boat, their stroke is starboard rigged. Typically, boats are port side stroke. I feel.
I think traditionally you're right, but I think hey, in this day and age, we're accepting of
That's
all
true.
things.
That is
okay?
true. I'm just saying, it's interesting to see. You don't see it too often. I feel.
I think it's pretty normal.
Okay, but I wasn't saying it was wrong.
Interesting though. Like,
It's not in a bad way.
could we use our kind words? Maybe.
I apologize. I apologize to anyone who typically rows with a starboard stroke.
Justice for Starstroke boats.
Hey,
So we've got the traditionalists at
Yes.
St. Catharines versus the new wave at Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
So we're saying, okay,
We'll see. We'll see who wins.
this could be a generational showdown right now.
You can also see that the boat holders, the fingers they're on, are all the way in for these eights, so that they are starting exactly 2,000 meters.
Right? Yeah, because the umpire that's aligning the race doesn't move,
Mhm.
so they have to move the boat holders instead. Line it up nicely. We're getting off pretty clean here. Minimal steering from the coxies. Both crews looking quite composed with their blade work.
Does look like Kingston got off to a little bit of a faster start, little bit of a.
I do agree. They look like they may have as much as a half length potentially, and Kingston's looking really tight and technical with their blades. I think St. Catharines is a little bit more frantic potentially. I think Kingston's looking really composed, really flat with their stroke.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's the starboard stroke.
That's what I'm saying.
I wish that we had audio of the boats, because hearing all 8 blades, square and feather at the same time is very.
That's a good idea. Henley commission people. Let's get Coxie recordings
We need
for the live
We
stream.
need some mics.
This would be
on it.
excellent.
Yeah, and you can hear the coxies screaming at their crew.
A thing to watch out for when looking at these eights is around the catch of the St. Catharines cruise, you just see a little bit of verticality introduced. You see the blades, when they come onto the square, they just lift away from the water a little bit. What's happening there is when you're not carrying enough space between your blade and the water, when you square, you tend to lift off, and then that introduces just a bit of a lag before you can get into the catch. But if you look at the Kingston boat, they're carrying a really nice space, so when they flip onto the square, they can really continue that nice flat arc towards the catch, and they produces a much more direct and connected catch. So to my eye, it does look like Kingston is out ahead of this race, past the 500 now.
We'll definitely be able to have a better look once they're past that 1,000 meter.
Yes, definitely. The camera angle is a bit better at the 1,000 meters, and we can kind of get a sense for what kind of gap we're looking at here. But I think Kingston got fired up when they saw that senior women's result, and they wanted to take it to St. Catharines. So it's looking like Kingston's got a fairly sizable lead, but the camera angle does make it look like St. Catharines at a bigger disadvantage than they actually are. So we'll see once they get closer actually what the real gap is. But Kingston's looking really nice. The flow that they're creating off the back end is really translating well through the run of the boat there. Really just flowing in between each stroke. So it does look like the open water gap is still very much present. It could be as much of a length lead for Kingston right now. They're going to be coming past our station just right now. Kingston looking really put together, rowing it around 34 strokes per minute. Really nice and long and connected. They've got over a length of open water, it looks like, to St. Catharines. St. Catharines also right around a 34.
I'd say beautiful technique from both of these crews. Honestly, they're very in time.
No doubt, yeah. I just think Kingston is just taking advantage just a little bit more. They're finding that extra gear of efficiency.
No, definitely, with the blades not rising as much when they square.
Just, yeah, very composed stroke from Kingston. Really nice to see. We're going to have that kind of crosswind there, so we'll see if it introduces a little bit more kind of breakdown of technique. I think it's not unreasonable to see that happen when the wind is hitting a crew from the side there.
Honestly, this Kingston boat is making it look easy.
Yeah, they are making it look easy, aren't they? Just kind of going
Light
for a
work.
row. Nothing to it but to do it, you know? St. Catharines is not giving up this fight, though. They're going just as hard as if they were bow ball for bow ball right now. So we'll see what kind of gap we have at the finish here. But coming to the last 250, really nice shot there from the cameraman. But the last 250 is late in the stage for an 8 race. So I don't think we're going to see a change in the order here, barring a Cal at IRA's semifinal crab. But looks like Kingston is going to be taking this one. Kingston looking really composed, coming towards the line there. Really getting a nice connection on the front end. Although no doubt they've worked very hard, so they've put everything into this race, and it has paid off. Last couple strokes here, and Kingston takes U23 lightweight women's 8. Some high fives there. Good stuff. Impressive from Kingston. 1-1 for women's 8s between Kingston and St. Catharines. Might have to have a tiebreaker here. Maybe a champ 8 potentially. Who knows? And the St. Catharines crosses the line, obviously putting absolutely everything into that race.
Now we are going to be heading to our last race of the day, the women's under 17 8. In lane 2, we have TBC Racing, lane 3, New Jersey, lane 4, Greenwich, lane 5, CRI, lane 6, St. Catharines Rowing Club, and lane 7, South Niagara. This will be an interesting race because former teammates are now racing against each other. Anastasia Julie in St. Catharines, and then South Niagara Lily Mosley and Claire Lobo, as well as my younger sister, won the gold in the women's junior quad with a cox in CSSRAs this year.
Right on. All right. So some friendly competitions going on right now.
Right beside each other.
Love
so this
to
should
see
be
that.
interesting.
I remember back in the day when I was in U17, our U17 women's 8 out at Vic City won this event. Way back in the day, it was a huge deal. I remember back then Henley was the biggest thing ever.
Oh yeah.
And so it's good to see that women's 8, U17s are going to be fighting it out again.
I am on the edge of my seat for this race. This should be a good one.
Looks like they've been called up to attention. 1 minute till officially the start of this race. So any second now, we will see them sent off. St. Catherine's just making a little bit of a course adjustment there. Bow seat just tapping her blade. Coxie just preparing. And they're off.
CRI with a explosive start there.
Yeah, CRI was looking really composed there, and it looks like they may have jumped a couple seats. Although that advantage doesn't look like it's grown. I think things are kind of a bit even now. I think the Greenwich crew is looking really nice. Blade work's looking really clean and composed there. So we'll have to see once the camera angle changes exactly what the spread of this boat looks like. To my eye, it looks like Greenwich has stepped onto a really nice rhythm here. And it looks like they might be just slowly inching away from New Jersey, at least for one, and then potentially CRI. I think CRI is really right there in the fight.
Definitely. And as these athletes are coming up to the island, they'll be able to hear the crews, coaches, everyone cheering from there, which definitely motivates them a little bit more, especially when they're starting those pieces.
No doubt. Yeah, so looks like Greenwich and CRI doing quite well.
Looks like St. Catherine's and South Niagara are also battling it out.
Yep, those two crews look fairly well matched. Hard to tell exactly where TBC Racing's is falling in the order right now, but these crews are getting closer to the 1,000 meter, and then we will see for sure. This is a pretty late in the day race to have, I must say. To wait, probably wouldn't even get to the course till 4 p.m. Have race at almost 6 p.m. It's just about dinner time, I think. I think it's been a good day of racing.
But yeah, definitely. When you're one of these last races in the day, you have to wait the whole day in anticipation, nerves,
the nerves.
thinking about it. Like, that's...
I mean, this is a really big deal race. I mean, junior 8s they're a really important part of these regattas. And it does look like Greenwich is stepping out front here.
with CRI close behind, and it does look like South Niagara is pulling possibly away from St. Catharines. It's hard to tell.
Hard
with the
to
angle.
tell. It looks like they could be fairly evenly matched.
Mhm.
We'll see in a moment here. Yeah, I think Greenwich is racing. They've got a lot of quality here. Moving with some mojo. You know what I mean? So we've got open water, looks like, between Greenwich and CRI. We're going to see them come by here in just a second. But we're seeing really nice backsplash there on the Greenwich crew. Really connecting well, getting a really long and effective stroke. So looks like just about a length of open water between Greenwich and CRI.
Mhm.
Oh, look at that. TBC Racing is right on CRI's heels. They've got contact. Looks like just about bow ball on the
Stern.
6th seat. Potentially even a little closer than that.
Mhm.
I think TBC Racing is going to be really pushing for that second place finish. Though I think Greenwich is moving with some motion right now, and I don't know if that momentum is going to be stopped. Looks like the train is right on the tracks and heading for the station. Got some fans down at the bottom of the picture getting excited.
As these crews are coming up on the last 500.